Have you ever sat in the middle of a crowded room, surrounded by laughter and casual conversation, and realized that a part of you had already packed its bags and left? Have you ever driven home from a social gathering in complete silence, feeling significantly more alone than you did before you arrived? When this happens, a dangerous script usually starts running in our heads. We tell ourselves, "Something is wrong with me." We diagnose ourselves on the spot. We call it becoming antisocial. We call it social anxiety. Or we wonder if it's the beginning of depression. We worry that we are losing our ability to connect, that our world is shrinking, and that this isolation will eventually become permanent. So, we try the standard remedy. We push ourselves back into those rooms. We accept more invitations. And yet, the remedy fails. If anything, it makes us feel worse. But what if you are diagnosing yourself with the wrong condition entirely? What if your exhaustion has absolutely nothing to do with a lack of capacity to connect, and everything to do with a sudden, sharp intolerance for the performances that social life runs on? You didn't lose the ability to connect. You lost the ability to pretend that a performance is the same thing as a connection. The legendary psychiatrist Irvin Yalom spent decades exploring the inner lives of people who felt deeply isolated. He discovered a brilliant, crucial distinction that changes everything. Loneliness isn't a single, flat emotion. Yalom mapped three entirely different forms of isolation. Interpersonal isolation, the physical distance between ourselves and others. This is the gap the culture understands, the lack of friends or a social calendar. Intrapersonal isolation, the internal fracturing that happens when we cut ourselves off from our own feelings, exiling parts of who we are to please others. Existential isolation, the fundamental, unalterable truth that we are thrown into existence alone, and we will leave it alone. No matter how close we get to another human being, a gap remains that cannot be crossed. The real tragedy occurs when we try to treat existential or intrapersonal isolation with interpersonal solutions. When you feel a deep, soulful emptiness and try to fix it by going to a crowded dinner party, the gap doesn't close. It actually throws the distance into sharper relief. You don't leave feeling empty because you are broken. You leave feeling empty because your internal instrument has become precise enough to register the difference between mere contact and genuine connection. Our culture heavily rewards people who can move through shallow surfaces without noticing the shallow water. But once your nervous system has tasted even a single moment of absolute authenticity, a conversation where the masks dropped and you were truly seen, you cross a threshold. You can no longer accept the counterfeit. The philosopher Martin Buber called the surface mode I-it relating. It's transactional. We use the other person as a tool to validate our worldview, to reassure us that we are likable, or to fill an awkward silence. Most of social life runs on this, and it isn't inherently evil. It's just not connection. Connection is what Buber called I-thou, the rare, flashing moment where two people stop performing and show up exactly as they are. Similarly, the psychologist Erich Fromm noted that real love and connection require respect, the rare ability to see a person as they actually are, not as you need them to be to quiet your own anxieties. When you withdraw, you aren't collapsing. Collapse is passive. Your withdrawal is an active refusal. It is your organism choosing honest solitude over dishonest company. When the weight of this isolation becomes heavy, we often run into a dangerous psychological trap that Yalom called fusion. Out of terror, we try to dissolve our boundaries completely into another person, a relationship, or a group dynamic. We outsource our identity to feel safe. But fusion demands that you stay small. You cannot grow as an individual inside a relationship built entirely on the fear of being separate, because growth differentiates you. It makes you unique, and uniqueness threatens the contract of dependency. True maturity, as Fromm argued, keeps need and love distinct. It allows two separate individuals to stand side by side without using each other as psychological crutches.